After we got back from California, it was still going to be a while before my movies came out. Yes, some of my magazine layouts were hitting the stand, but all of these magazines, they'd changed my name. So it wasn't Hyapatia Lee, it was Rusty or Ginger or Susie or whatever. They'd make up a name for me. Very few of the magazines would put my true name. For example, they called me Indian Moon in Hustler. Okay, whatever. I don't have control over that. So it wasn't going to do me any good really on the road because they couldn't say, this is our feature entertainer at the club this week, and she's been in this magazine, and they could go out and say, well, I don't see that name in this magazine. You know, it was very hard to put the two together for people. So I couldn't really capitalize on that. So I was still earning bottom dollar, basically, for being on the road, which is really hard. And at that time, I had to pay my own expenses. The more well-known I got and the bigger star I became, the more they paid for my travel expenses and hotel and stuff like that. But at this point, it was all out of pocket. So my agent was in Florida. He was in Winter Haven, right outside of Orlando. And I told him, I need, to get some money. I need a lot of work if you can line something up for me. So he lined up 9 weeks in a row, which was pretty much unheard of. I mean, usually I do 2 or 3 weeks in a row and then come back. And it wasn't because I wanted to come back. There just wasn't that much work out there yet for somebody of my stature and notoriety. So we got this gig in Canada for 9 weeks. Okay, great. So, all right, we got all prepared. We got all ready to go. And that includes stocking up on our smoking supplies because Bud and I at that time, and still to this day, I don't know about him, but I do, we get high. We smoke weed. I smoked weed back then. I smoke weed now. So we got some weed. And we were going to hide it in the truck and be very safe. And I said, now, because this was back in the day where you couldn't get good pot without seeds and stems and all of that. So we'd been traveling in the truck from coast to coast, basically, and there were probably a few stray seeds on the floor of, that truck. And I said, we need to clean this out. We need to make sure that we give it a good vacuuming, because God forbid, going through customs, that a customs agent should find stems and seeds on the floorboard. So he said, sure, I'll go do that. So he went to the local car wash and supposedly vacuumed the place out really good. He came back and told me he had vacuumed everything, including the bed of the pickup truck. Okay, great. We traveled with Siberian Huskies, 2 dogs at the time. These were our babies, and they were always in the back of the pickup truck. It had a camper shell on it, and when we traveled, that's where they were. We always stayed in hotels where they could come in. So they were going to travel to Canada with us, and that really wasn't a problem. We had done this before. So we get to the border, and they want to inspect the truck. We expected that. We had to get our work permits anyway. So we go in and we get our work permits and get all that stuff straightened out while they're, doing their little customs thing, inspecting the truck. We come out and they go, you're under arrest. Oh my God. My heart skipped several beats. I didn't know what to say. And I thought, oh shit, they found our stash. And I'm looking, and they have not gotten into the place where we hid it, which was in a door panel, in a panel behind the door. They didn't get into that. They pulled a huge gallon bag of seeds out from underneath my husband's seat, the driver's seat. Cleaned the car out my ass. I mean, if they had found a few seeds, 2 or 3, everybody makes a mistake. Maybe he missed them, you know. But a gallon bag, this thing was this big. I mean, how did you miss that? You didn't look. You didn't try. You didn't do what you said you were going to do. Well, this is just one of the many reasons I'm divorced. This is his modus operandi. He would do this kind of shit all the time. But this time, it really backfired because it got us busted and we lost 9 weeks worth of work. So they kept him overnight in that jail. And I had to go back to the United States and get bail to bail him out. And my mother and my family members had to pool money together to bail his ass out. I was so mad at him. Not only did he cost us the bail money, which was just under $1,000, he cost us 9 weeks worth of work, which was like close to $20,000 at that time. I was very angry, as you can well imagine. And what were we going to do for income in the meantime? Because it's not like my agent could go book us again, you know? And so we sat for 9 weeks doing nothing with no money. Thank you, bud. Oh, memories, the good old days. Oh, boy.